You, of course, are listening to the MHA podcast. Why in the world would you play Isaiah McKenzie over your third-round pick, T. Higgins? Why? I like any quarterback that can make Will Fuller look good.
I love it. I think he's a top 20 receiver.
I mean, he is the Jamar Chase whisperer.
Oh, hell yes. Oh, my God.
You know, everybody loves Lamar Jackson.
Hated it.
I trust Derek Carr.
Come on. For real?
I know why you did. It's because you're crazy.
It's still the week and the games aren't even over yet. It's great. It's fantastic.
Fantastic.
It's fantastic.
Patrick Mahomes. Looks so good. Kyle Pitts was bad.
It's not my shebang. Justin Jefferson.
So good.
We could call him Russell Wilson if you want.
Ooh. Well done, sir. That is good stuff. All of those guys have more fantasy points than Tom Brady. I'm laughing, but I'm crying at the same time. It's terrible. All right, it's Tuesday night here on the MHA podcast. Time to look back on week 6 of this NFL season. Of course, the usual suspects on the show, Mikey Renaud, Todd Diamond, and Eric Lansing. And guys, I just got to say, without getting too emotional here tonight, there's no better pleasure than to come on this show every week to hang out with two amazing friends, maybe family, I should say, and talk about fantasy football when I'm having the worst season ever. It is so much fun. I can't thank you guys enough for being here on Tuesday night. Amazing stuff. Thanks for being here.
It's fantastic, isn't it, Eric? It's fantastic.
Love fantasy football. It's great.
It's great. It's great.
Mikey's doing pretty well. How are you doing, buddy?
Yeah, baby. Are you?
Yeah, baby.
Yeah,
I have to clip that one out for next year's intro. Yeah, baby.
Yeah. I mean, I was joking with Aaron earlier. I was like, it's nice to see the brothers Renault on top of the standings, 1 and 2. We just may flip flop the order after this week.
That's
great. I'm so
great.
excited for you two. Yeah. All right. Well, let's keep going. We'll get into some news.
I don't understand what the news is. It's just like, hey, here's a bunch of you can't fix that happened that was horrible.
Speaking of things that were horrible, Christian McCaffrey left his game early, dealing with some pain in his rib and in his oblique. I saw something earlier today that he could be ready. He avoided major injury, and Todd said something about he might play this weekend. Is that right, Todd? That's your boy, right?
Yep. He looks like he's going to play. Looks like he's, and the good thing is it's a Monday night game, so it gives him, maybe a little, an extra day to get ready. So that's always love to hear that news that he's expected to play. So, whew. That I was sweating. Because when he got hurt on Sunday, I was like, over through the text line, I was like, fuck. I was like, great. I can't yell and scream at work, so that was, that was like, okay. And then I saw he was coming. Then he came back in the game. I was like, yeah, let's go. And then they're like, no, you need to stay out. I'm like,
Damn. More 49er injuries. Of course, Debo, he's always hurt. Continues to be hurt day to day with a shoulder. I don't know if anybody still has Anthony Richardson. He may have been dropped by now, but Colts quarterback, more than likely to miss the rest of the season. Going to have season-ending shoulder surgery. Another quarterback having issues. Belt Sanders, Josh Allen, got beat up a little bit in his game against the Giants. He's considered day-to-day, dealing with some ailment in his right shoulder. Another quarterback that is day-to-day, line rip QB Trevor Lawrence, got some problems in his knee. Read something today that he's improving to play on Thursday night, so quick turnaround for Aaron's quarterback. Cooper's Cousins, more quarterback news. Justin Fields may miss some time with a dislocated right thumb. Eaton W's, I saw he dropped him today, but Deshaun Watson making progress on his shoulder issues. It seems like there's more to that story, but I didn't care enough to look it up. But Kilgore Trout running back Jahmyr Gibbs has been hampered with a hamstring injury, but could possibly play this week. Lemonheads running back Kieran Williams will miss week 7 after spraining his ankle. Pat Freiermuth says he's going to play against the Rams. How about some breaking news? Julio Jones on a football team. What the And yeah, I know I have to bleep that out, but Jesus, come on. This is why I don't get football. Why are people signing Julio Jones? Why? Anybody have an answer? Anybody want to chime in? Mikey, you're the fantasy football guy. Tell us why Julio Jones is signed to a football team.
He just either because he's such a big target. He's 34, so he's definitely way over the hill. But you sign him a 1-year deal. It's maybe teams are thinking, high reward, low risk. But obviously a few years ago when he got signed to the Bucks, I was like, oh, this is great. He's a big target. Maybe they can get something out of him. But I agree, and finally agree with you. Yes, Julio Jones. It's what's the point? And at the end of the day, too, Jalen Hurts is just gonna not throw him the ball anyway. So what's the point? Doesn't throw it to the wide receiver I need him to throw him to, and Devonta Smith. But that's a different discussion later on in the podcast. But yeah, I don't know. There must be something still that teams are like, maybe we can fix him. You can't fix something that's already broken. Broken. That's it.
So that was a lot of words for doesn't make any difference. Mike, you want to say anything or can we move on?
I mean, maybe it's like leadership. Maybe it's they're not happy with the production they're getting out of their guys right now. I don't know. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
So he's going to help Devonta Smith and Todd in his fantasy season?
Maybe it's that father figure role for him,
Yeah. All right. There you go. More news. Royce Freeman was activated from the Rams practice squad and moved to the active roster. I mentioned the Kieran Williams stuff. Myles Gaskin signed from the Vikings practice squad, and also they signed Darrell Henderson to the practice squad. So the Rams making moves, 3 running backs to the mix with Kieran Williams and the backup also dealing with some injury stuff. Exciting. I don't know if Mikey, is there any fantasy worthiness there? I mean, Kieran Williams in that offense has been good. So should anybody be racing out to pick up Royce Freeman, Myles Gaskin, or Darrell Henderson for some? I mean, we have a lot of buys this week, so maybe there's something to that.
Racing out? I wouldn't say racing out.
Not using a waiver.
This is the ultimate guessing game because you don't know who's going to be the primary and who they're going to use for how many carries. But yeah, with a lot of bye weeks going on, this is a 1 week kind of thing because supposedly Kieran Williams is supposed to be back after week 7. Yeah, teams are in need, so they're going to chase
them down, folks. Last thing before we get to some trivia. How about a trade? Talk about breaking news just moments ago, maybe half hour ago. Eaton W's needing some running back depth, decides to trade Terry McLaurin for Jerome Ford. So Jerome Ford coming from the NWA. So NWA needing some receiver help and gives up Jerome Ford to Eaton W's. Jerome Ford's been usable. He's done well. I don't know if well is too much of a term, but I mean, he's, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20th in terms of fantasy points this season. Had 10 last week, 17 carries, 84 yards, couple of receptions. So good luck. Eaton W's, NWA. Hope that works out for you. All right, let's get into some MHA trivia.
Time to play the game. Time to play the game.
All right. MHA trivia. Woo! Yeah. And why'd my music stop? Always stops. Okay. All right, gentlemen. Let's see where the top 10 drafted running backs are sitting among all running backs and points scored this season. So I'll name a running back. Both of you will guess where the running back sits amongst all running backs in those fantasy points. Whoever gets closer earns the point. Whoever gets the 5 first wins. If they both say the same answer and it's correct, both you get credit for the point. You can go over and still earn the point if you're closer. Does that all make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Ready to go?
Yep.
All right. So, Christian McCaffrey was the first running back drafted in our league. Where is he sitting in points as of now amongst all running backs? Anybody can chime in at any time they want.
He's number 1.
Okay, Todd says number 1. What do you think, Miguel? Mike, are you thinking? Are you still with us?
I'm thinking.
Okay, I didn't hear you. Sometimes Zencaster doesn't work.
I'll say he is number 1.
Number 1. You both are correct. 133 points despite leaving his game early. He has been tremendous. So Todd picking him up, or drafting him, I should say. He's done wonders. Okay. The second running back drafted this season was Austin Eckler by NWA with the 5th overall pick. Tell me, where's he sit amongst running backs this season?
15.
And it's probably good to note that there have been bye weeks and there have been injuries, but with injuries, that's the point, right? Is guys that are on the field picking up points for you. So where's Austin Eckler in terms of points?
15th.
Okay.
Oh,
Mikey?
If I lose this one to Todd, then I deserve to lose the whole thing for that answer. I'm going to say 45th.
All right. So 45th for Mikey. Todd says 15. Now, Eric's got to do some math here because you both aren't incredibly close. So you just got to hold up here because I got to do
I know
math.
I'm closer.
No, yeah, you are definitely closer. Okay,
All I would
correct.
have to do is say 16. I could have played.
Yeah, you should have said 16. You could have been over. But Austin Eckler, 39th amongst all running backs with just 30 points. You know, he's dealt with some injuries, but he came back last night and shit the bed. And not having the season that NWA was hoping for. He hadn't missed. We got 3 games and he's had a bye. He had 23 in that first game. But Austin Eckler, smaller back, dealing with some injuries, not doing so well. So Mikey picks up point number 2.
That was close.
That was close. Yes, it was. The third running back drafted was yours truly, Saquon Barkley. Where do you think he sits amongst all running backs in points?
28th.
All right, Todd says 28th.
I will say 29th.
29th for Mikey. And the answer, as I got to turn the music back on, Todd gets the point. 24th.
Wow.
Yeah, 24th. So still in the top 25. Now, he had a big... Oh, man, where'd it go? Dadgummit. Why did it change? Let me go back here. So, Saquon Barkley, although he has missed 3 games with injuries, he had a 25-point game back in week 2, 8 points in week 1, and 13 last weekend against the Bills. So he's been productive when he's been out there, but still just 24th. We're tied 2-2, gentlemen. Let's go to Bijan Robinson, the 4th running back drafted in our league. Where is he sitting amongst all running backs in points this season?
8th.
All right, Todd says 8th. Mikey, what you got?
I'll say 6th.
Mikey says 6th. And guess what? Todd gets another point. He's actually 14th, if you can believe it. I mean, he's had some pretty decent weeks. 18, 18, 8, 16, 10, and 10. Make sure I got this right here. I wonder if I might be wrong on this. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th. He's actually 9th, which still gives Todd the point. I'm sorry. I was looking at Brian Robinson, Washington. So my mistake, but still it goes to Todd because he was closer. So Todd takes a 3-2 lead. And now let's go to Derrick Henry, who was drafted by the defending champs. Where's he sitting amongst all running backs?
7th.
Todd says 7th. Mikey, chance to tie it up here if you can get this closer than Todd.
I'm going to say 11th.
Mikey says 11th. And Derrick Henry is 10th. So Mikey picks up the point. Derrick Henry on a bye this week. He's played every week. He's had a couple of low-performing weeks. He had a 2-point week against Cleveland and 7 against Indy, but he's at 10, 17, 26, and 17. Pretty solid season so far for, I believe he was a first-round pick, or he was at least on the turn. Okay, let's go to the 6th running back drafted, Tony Pollard. Where's he amongst all running backs in points scored this season?
13th.
Okay, Todd says 13th. Mikey?
I'm going to say 8th.
All right, and the answer is 12th. So Todd picks up the point. He takes a 4-3 lead. Pollard on a bye this week. Had 12 points between week 4 and week 5 against some pretty tough competition, but he had 21 points way back in week 1, 17, 15, and picked up 6 receptions. His average per carry hasn't been great this year, but he still had 13 points because he can catch the ball and help out on that end. Okay, so Todd up 4-3. Another point. Todd wins. We're going to skip Nick Chubb because we know where he's at. How about, how amazing this ends up working out. Aaron Jones. Where is he sitting amongst running backs this season in terms of points?
Mm-hmm. 17th.
17th, Mikey. Aaron Jones.
I will say 20th.
20th. Mikey picks up the point, but you guys are way off.
I knew
50th.
I would be,
50th. Maybe Mikey's playing it safe. Yeah. 22 points in week 1. Injured. 2 points against Detroit. 0 points. May have been injured. And then the bye. Todd, 50th. 50th. All right. The tiebreaker, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Mixon. Where's he at this year amongst those running backs?
29th.
29th. It's Mikey for the win.
Pedestrian. I'm going to say 19th.
Wow, and Mikey's on the dot. 19th.
Wow.
How about that? Mikey wins MHA Trivia. Comes roaring back. And unfortunately for Todd, falls once again. Just going back to Joe Mixon. Been okay. Probably less than some folks expected. 8 points, 10, 13, 7, 12, 7. But the Bengals offense as a whole has struggled this season. So no prizes there. And just to finish off the top 10, ETN was the 10th running back drafted, and he's 4th. So there's your running backs there in that situation. Good job, Miguel. Proud of you. Winning at fantasy football all over the place. Congratulations, sir.
Woo!
Yeah. Well done.
Yeah.
All right, let's read. Oh, yeah, they're in the mail. They're in the mail. Like, I'm going to put them in an envelope and then ship them to you. That's how you're going to get them.
Don't do that. They always end up coming dead. They don't put water in them.
That's right.
They put those little spongy things in them. They don't work that well.
Okay, let's recap week 6. We'll start with the Lion Rip squad, who earned a 121-119 victory over the NWA. Cooper Kupp seems to be all the way back, scoring 20 points, and Ramondre Stevenson scored a season-high 16. NWA got a nice 49 from Jalen Hurts and a surprising season high of 12 points from Kyle Pitts. Get out of town. It came down to Monday night. Lion Rip's kicker versus NWA's Austin Eckler. And of course, the kicker outscores the running back. Lion Rip improves to 5-1. NWA falls even to 3-3. Another close matchup featured the Belt Sanders and the notorious CUP. CUP had 5 players with 10 or more points, including 49 from his first-round pick, Patrick Mahomes, 30 completions from the KC quarterback, but just 1 touchdown. Josh Allen was human against the Giants and piled up just 36 points for the Belt Sanders. Got beat up a lot in that game, but got a nice 20 burger from their first-round pick in Tyreek Hill. But CUP would win the day thanks to 14 points from Zay Flowers, a season high from the Ravens wide receiver. Belt Sanders fall to 4-2, and notorious CUP now up at 500 and 3-3. Let's all applaud for Eaton W's, who finally found their first win this year and did so in week 6. 6 different players at double figures, including his KC combo of Harrison Butker and KC's defense, taking full advantage of the ineptitude of the Denver Broncos. 31 total points. And let's not forget about his boy Travis Kelce, also on the Chiefs, who added 15 against that abysmal Denver Broncos defense. It didn't help that Cooper's Cousins, who only got 10 points from Justin Fields, who got hurt and left the game early. He did get 22 from Adam Thielen and 21 from Travis Etienne. But of course, with no Justin Fields, Cole Kmet managed just 2 points. 116-82 is the final. Eaton W's now 1-4-1 and jumps to 10th place, while Cooper's Cousins is no longer undefeated, sitting at 3-1-2. The Hot Tamales are now sitting in the second spot after, try that again. The Hot Tamales are now sitting in the second spot after taking down the Lemonheads 150-132. His 3 wide receiver combo of Diggs, Waddle, and Allen went bananas for 47 total points. And Raheem Mostert continues to shine in that Dolphins offense, 32 points on 3 touchdowns. Joe Burrow, Burrow was mediocre once again, and this Darren Waller project isn't panning out since the G-men are so bad. The Tamales now sporting a 4-2 record. Lemonheads are in last place with a 1-5 mark. The defending champs also sit at 1-5 after falling to the Chad Powers fan club 123-97. With Daniel Jones on the sideline, the Gonzo Cats ran C.J. Stroud at quarterback and was sorely disappointed with 30 measly points. T. Higgins and David Montgomery both returned from injuries for last year's champs, but scored a paltry 5 total points. Chad Powers got a late and lucky touchdown from Breece Hall, who has put up back-to-back solid weeks in a row. And how about that start of Jonnu Smith, the backup tight end in Atlanta, and he scores in double figures. All right, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Or in this league, it's all about luck. Chad Powers now 4-2 and in 6th place. And finally, Kilgore Trout scored a whopping 103 points to earn their 4th victory on the season, taking down the Butterfingers, who racked up just 87 points. 34 total points for the Butterfingers between Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey. Not much to say about Kilgore, except he got a big day from Amon-Ra St. Brown, who returned back from his injury and piled in 24 points. And how about 19 points from his kicker, Justin Tucker? Seemed like it was a big week for kickers. Todd, I'll start with you. You want to say anything about your matchup? Didn't seem like your boy Brock Purdy or CMC came to play this week.
Well, obviously
13 points from CMC is not bad.
You got a touchdown.
I'd kill for that.
Thank God he got a touchdown before he got hurt. But it didn't seem like the matchup. I didn't feel like I got blown out. You get 32 points from Cousins. Brown had his 24, and then from 19 from his kick from Tucker. But it just didn't feel like, oh my God, this was like a real bad loss. Yes, Purdy had his worst, one of his worst games. Well, not worst games, but looked humid.
Oh, I'm sure it's his worst of the season. It sure is.
Yep, it is. He threw his first interception, but yeah, again, I'm still, and obviously getting 12 points from Josh Downs. Was kind of a little silver lining, because after trading London away, and London got 15, so not only a 3-point difference. But I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this loss. I don't feel like this was like a real bad loss per se, because it's just McCaffrey going out, getting hurt, that didn't help. So Kilgore didn't, Joe didn't put up godly numbers against me. So I don't know. It's kind of a weird matchup. Kind of I was like, obviously it sucked that I lost, but I was like, I don't feel like I lost. Like I know I lost. I get it. But it was just like his players didn't blow me away. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of ones and twos and fives, there. So, Mike, and it wouldn't have mattered anyway. But my kicker missed a game-winning field goal, but it wouldn't have mattered anyway. But just keep playing that roulette with tight ends. Gotta love that. So, I have to maybe try to make a trade for a tight end or something. But I'll have to give up somebody to do it because I may not last if I keep trying to do this roulette thing with tight ends every week. Because 1 point now, granted, Joe got 1 point from his tight end, so unless you have Kelsey, it's pretty gross. But move on to next week.
Mikey, you want to say anything about your victory here this week? Big time performances all over the place.
Yeah, but first I just have to quickly comment on what Todd just said. I have come to realize that Todd is the Denver Broncos. Like he's the bad team that is trying to convince everybody that he's not bad. So that's like Denver saying, well, yeah, we lost to the Chiefs, but they only scored 19 points. Yeah, we only scored 8, but they only scored 19. So moral victory. Doesn't count for anything.
I know, but I mean, I'm just saying I didn't get blown out this week. I mean, it wasn't like Kirk Cousins didn't put 52 on the board.
Yeah, but you don't understand. In fantasy football,
I know,
like you have no control over what the other team scores.
I know.
So it's not like you were playing defense against Joe and you held him to 103. That's not the way this works.
I know, and I got 16 points out of my defense, so I got to, it was,
and your defense wasn't playing against Joe either.
What? Well, yeah, I had Baltimore's defense was playing against Joe.
Well, you know what I'm saying. It's not
I know
Ravens
what you're saying.
were guarding Kirk Cousins.
And again, I play the what ifs for until the end of time. But if Purdy decided to have one of his worst games of the season. Even if McCaffrey obviously got hurt and was out, but Purdy, had a good game, who knows? But that's not how fantasy football works. So moving on.
So my week, I mean, I'm consistently getting, good performances by my top draft picks. Herbert playing well, Diggs playing well, Keenan Allen playing well, and then Raheem Mostert, man, he's just been incredible. And Kamara's been consistent since he came back. Like I'm surviving, defense and kicker not doing squat, and Kittle having these off and on performances. So another 150 point week. Ho hum, right, guys?
Yes, ho hum.
Raheem Mostert, second behind Christian McCaffrey in points scored this year, even with a 2-point week against Buffalo in week 4, 11, 25, 42, 14, and 32. Those big time numbers from a guy that Mikey was high on in the preseason, so it's definitely paying off here. Doe of the week, I only saw really one. I saw Belt, of course, anytime you lose by a close margin. I could get on Belt Sanders if I want to. Lost by 2, and if they would have played Jordan Mason, the guy that took me out last week, could have helped him out this week over Josh Reynolds. Did you see anything else, Miguel?
I mean, yeah, there was, you could say NWA if he would have played Curtis Samuel over DJ Moore. But DJ Moore was coming off 2 pretty good weeks. One. Jerome Ford over Austin Eckler coming off the injury. I mean, maybe something there. Jordan Mason. Yeah, I guess because it is Josh Reynolds.
Yeah. I understand that Josh Reynolds had double figures last week, and who knows when CMC is going to get hurt. But That's the closest thing I could find that was like viable.
Yeah, I mean everything else was kind of like
Yeah, there wasn't much
blowout.
there. I mean, the only other one I saw is uh, who the heck has Tua?
That's
Isn't it Belt
Allen.
Allen.
Sanders? Yeah, he could have played Tua, but how would you play him over Josh Allen? You really wouldn't. But
Yeah.
he didn't want to trade him either. So guess who's getting the dough of the week? It's the Belt Sanders.
No, there was one other one that we missed, and that was Dylan.
Did we? Why
Yeah,
is that?
because Dylan could have played Derek Carr over Justin Fields.
Oh, come on. Justin Fields, I mean, I understand he hasn't been your favorite quarterback, but he's been stellar the last 2 weeks. How do you sit him after that?
I'd sit him right now.
Well, yeah, he's got a broken, dislocated thumb. We're all sitting. He's sitting him. But I mean, how do you can't, right? I mean, don't ask me about fantasy football. I don't know what to do. But I mean, he's been so good.
My advice: never play him.
Well, Mikey's the second best team in the league, so there you go. Everybody send all your inquiries to Mikey Renault at bbana at hotmail.com, and you can get all your questions answered. Let's get into the studs of the week.
The cream of the crop. Nobody does it better.
Mikey, you on this week? Go for it. And tell us why it's Raheem Mostert.
It's Raheem Mostert. Oh, another 32 points, another 3 touchdowns. You know what's amazing is he has 11 touchdowns in 6 weeks.
It's pretty good.
Good. I mean, last year he had 5 touchdowns in 16 weeks.
I wonder if he has 11 touchdowns in his career.
He does.
Okay.
He does. But yeah, it hasn't happened in a while. I mean, it's already a career high for a season in 6 games, which is stunning. But yeah, I mean, it's all because of the Devin HN injury. Now he's back to getting all the carries, and I'm going to reap the benefits of this so long as he can stay healthy and HN's on the IR.
Indeed. Todd, stud of the weekend.
Cooper Kupp. Obviously coming back from injury, another good. I mean, I had 13 when he came back week 5, but this past week, week 6, 20 points for him. 107 receptions for 148 yards. Wow. Talk about patience. Aaron is patient with that because, like, I don't know if I would have drafted him in that first round knowing, okay, when is he going to come back? But Aaron's reaping the rewards of that now. So good on him on that one. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. He's been great. And I think Puka Nacua has dealt with some of the blowback, although he was good one of the weeks when Cooper's Cup. Maybe last week was pretty solid. But yeah, Cooper Kupp, Stafford continues to have having a good season. And the offense has been better, considering how bad it was 1 year ago. One guy I mentioned is Amon-Ra St. Brown, who didn't play last week with an injury, but has double figures in all but 1 week that he's played to this season. And that other week was still 9 points. 3 touchdowns already this year. I thought maybe touchdowns would be an issue in that offense because they run the ball so much. But he's got 3 touchdowns and on pace to have another really good season. The receptions are always there. And not a lot of great performances for Kilgore Trout, but he got 24 in a big time matchup. I mean, I believe he was a 2nd round pick, if I'm not mistaken. And so being able to utilize your top picks, I mean, like Mikey just mentioned, his top guys have been performing, and you get those guys to perform and won by 2 points. And that 24 points is a big time week for a wide receiver. And so there you go. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Mikey, who else stood out for you in week 6?
How about Drake London?
Oh, that's just mean. Now you're just being rude. Now you're just being rude.
I mean, 12 targets, season high, 9 receptions, season high, 125 yards, season high. And kudos to Kevin making that deal with Todd to get Drake London. Maybe he just needed a change of scenery, and now he's starting to perform. What do you say, Todd?
That's not no.
Mm.
Yeah. Good for London. Good for Drake London. Okay.
No, good for Kevin. He got his first win.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
he made a trade and it worked out in his favor.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't see my trade. I'll see if my trade works this week. Okay. I'll see if Najee Harris need running backs. Hopefully he can. Maybe he learned. He thought about what he did last season, screwed me, and now he's like, all right, I gotta figure this
It's
out.
on his
All right?
mind. It's on his mind every night when he goes to sleep. I promise. I promise. What did I do to Todd? I have a chance for redemption. Oh.
Yeah, better get some redemption. I'm gonna play him, or if he doesn't work, I'm gonna play Josh Downs. All right, that dude's caught a touchdown. Let's go.
Yeah, and I'm in last place. Who else? Todd, give me another stud from week 6.
I'll go with Zay Flowers. Looking like Lamar Jackson's favorite target. I mean, he had a touchdown in London this past week. Kind of plays in the slot. He plays in the slot and on the outside. So Zay Flowers definitely, surprise. Highly surprised rookie.
Yeah, he showed some pretty good signs of life in the preseason. Kind of been inconsistent, but that's what happens when you have Lamar Jackson as your quarterback. He's never going to put up a ton of attempts. And he benefited because he got that touchdown. I mean, there's weeks where he's had multiple double-digit targets, which is great, but like last week, 11 targets, 5 receptions. That's just Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is not the most accurate quarterback in the league, and he's going to run first. And luckily this week for CUP, 14 points from Flowers was big. The last thing I just mentioned the Kansas City Chiefs against the Denver Broncos. I mean, Mahomes was great. Kelsey was great. Bucker was great. The Chiefs defense was great. Pacheco was great. Man, that Broncos team, I mean, they tried. I'll give them credit. They tried and almost pulled it out. But what is that, 14 games in a row the Chiefs have beaten the Broncos? Is that the number, Mikey?
I think it's 16.
Oh, 16. Let's see. I lost count. It's been so long since we beat them. All right, let's get. Do anybody else have any last minute studs? Or should we move to the duds?
Yeah. Move to the duds.
Lots of duds this week.
No!
You're
the worst. I hate looking at your face. I want to smash it.
All right, Todd, who you got? It's got to be someone from your team, right?
Oh, absolutely. You go with Logan Thomas. I just can't get this tight end stuff to work. I just like, come on, man. 1 point. Let's move on.
No, we're not going to move on because that's what I have too. Is Todd's tight end carousel. 1 point from Logan Thomas. 7 is okay. Is not great, but it's not bad. 7 from Luke Musgrave, who he dropped, by the way. Musgrave 1 point in week 4. Hayden Hurst in week 2 with 4 points. Dalton Kincaid in week 1 with 5 points. And he dropped the one tight end that was doing okay for him. So yeah, tight ends has not been Todd's friend this season. And then not a lot of teams can say they have like best tight ends either anyway. So but yeah, that one just stood out. Mikey, you really crapped the bed this week.
Well, I'm going to go with the Chad Powers fan club wide receiver duo of Devontae Adams and DeAndre Hopkins. Combined for 5 points on 3 catches and 49 yards. Like those kind of stats from those two guys that are so, at least over the course of their careers, have been so consistent. It's maybe chalk it up to a bad week, although Hopkins has not been as good as he used to be and is on the other side of 30. Not a good week. 5 points combined.
Yeah, and luckily it didn't cost him the victory.
No,
I mean, Chad Powers still won. Got a decent amount of point totals despite that. I mean, it's definitely glaring when you go through it. I mean, I was never super big on Hopkins this year, and he's had 2 10-point or more weeks this season, but yeah. But okay. Who else did I have? I had Josh Allen, who played the whole game. Just 36 points now. I mean, the Giants defense was in his grill the whole game. But luckily for the Bills, the Giants can't score points. So they really didn't need Josh Allen to pile up the fantasy points. So lucky for the Bills, but not lucky for the Belt Sanders, who lost a tight one. When the Giants defense, they've given up some points to quarterbacks this season, but with the Giants' lack of skill to find the back of the end zone. I mean, obviously with Tyrod Taylor, and we saw that nonsense right before halftime, but yeah, Josh Allen couldn't get Belt Sanders his 5th win of the season. Still a good season for Belt Sanders. Mikey, who else you got?
Well, I had to throw Austin Eckler in here because
Yep.
he needed a big game from him Monday night.
You needed 2 more points from him.
Yeah, and he's coming off an injury, but it's not like
he didn't look bad. He didn't look like he was hampered, I should say. He looked bad, but not injured.
And he wasn't like coming off the field a bunch either. It was like he played. It just they weren't running the ball that well. And
not at all.
Dallas's pass rush was so good that when Eckler was out there, he couldn't get out on as many routes as he usually wanted to, have to stand in and block. So yeah, it's hard when you lose to a kicker with your number 1 overall draft pick for your team.
No kidding. He ran 14 times for 27 yards, only 4 catches in a time where with the pass rush coming at Herbert, I mean, they should have made it more of an effort to get him the ball, but there was just times where he had to stay in and block and they still couldn't block. And we mentioned, there was times, I don't know if it was multiple. The Chargers were inside the red zone, and instead of going for the field goal, they decided, let's go for the touchdown, and that didn't work out. And that's what you need Eckler for sure. Todd, who else? Who didn't have a good week 6?
I'm going to go with Gabe Davis. Now, obviously, we just talked about Josh Allen didn't have the best game, but
Diggs was fine.
Gabe Davis only 2 points, so they definitely, shut him down. 3 receptions for 21 yards, so not the
fumbled,
the best.
If I'm not mistaken. He also fumbled.
He had one lost fumble, so not the best coming off a 17-point performance last week. So especially against the Giants, who the Giants are just awful. I think there's going to be some changes, but that's for a different day. But yeah, Gabe Davis, not too good, kind of poopy too, a little bit.
Yeah. Definitely for sure. A guy who had 4 touchdowns in 4 straight weeks, and in a favorable matchup, and they had some injuries on the defensive end as well, and they still weren't able to kind of pile up the points. But when you're not forced to, when you only need a couple of points, we have 14, and you don't need to do anything because 9 from the Giants who haven't scored a offensive touchdown in 12 quarters or something like that. But yeah, anything else? Any other duds this week?
I didn't want to pick on like certain guys because like Cole Kmet was a result of Justin Fields getting hurt, and David Montgomery got hurt. A lot of injuries.
A lot of injuries. A lot of bye week. Well, not a lot. No, we only had 2 teams on bye last week. We have a lot more coming up this week, but let's talk about those next week matchups. Next week, Chad Powers Fan Club takes on Cooper's Cousins. Kilgore Trout taking on those Gonzo Cats. Hot Tamales versus Lion Rip. Lemonheads versus Eaton W's. Notorious CUP versus the NWA. And the Butterfingers versus the Belt Sanders. And we have, what do we have here? 6 teams on byes. Panthers, Bengals, Cowboys, Texans, Jets, Titans. So let's see. No Breece Hall, no Derrick Henry. None of those Cowboys. There's about CeeDee Lamb and Dak and Pollard. No Burrow, no Higgins, Jamar Chase. Adam Thielen, who's had a good year with the Panthers. So a lot of teams hopefully have some depth, or they're going to run to the waiver wire, which isn't plentiful these days, but
you have to look at that Chad Powers Fan Club versus Cooper's Cousins matchup. That is going to be something else. There are so many bye weeks in that matchup between the 2 teams.
Oh, yeah, I see Derek Carr. Well, he's obviously coming in for the injured. no Brees Hall there. Oh wow, yeah. You look at Chad Powers, Joe Mixon, Hopkins, Prescott, Nico Collins. On the other side, well, Fields is hurt. Thielen, Jamar Chase, Singletary. Not that he was playing on that much. So yeah, that's going to be a tough one for sure. 99-82, but I mean, obviously Bryce Hall and Cincinnati's defense still in the starting lineup for Chad Powers fan club. So yeah, and that's a 4-2 versus 3-1-2 team.
Yep.
So, yeah, there you go. There you go. Anything else, gentlemen, before we get out of here?
No, just hopefully.
Everybody ready? Sorry, too loud.
You're fine. Hopefully my team, looks like my team maybe in full force now. Aaron Jones being back. Hopefully that'll work and figure out this tight end stuff and see if Najee Harris maybe can have an epiphany and see what happens.
Yeah, sure. Najee Harris, yeah. How we're going to end the show is with some Najee Harris talk.
No. Let's end it. Renault versus Renault. First place at stake, baby.
Yep.
Should be exciting for those two. Have fun, you two. Tear it up, and we'll see who's number one after it's all said and done. Well, that'll do it for us here in the MHA podcast. Thanks for tuning in. It's going to be a long season. Got to do this every week.
Yep.
We'll see you next week. Oof.